We all know that markets absolutely hate uncertainty, and Trump has just given the markets plenty of this. His new 100% tariffs from China has caused a sell-off, which is affecting sectors like tech, manufacturing and even the energy space. The market nearly had a pullback of around 5%, and as of recording this video, we are slightly recovering. Now, the real question is if Trump is using this whole fear and uncertainty as a negotiation tactic ahead of his meeting on the 1st of November. Now, today's quite an important video because we're going to be discussing why the overall markets have sold off and what I'm planning to do moving forward with my portfolio. As you know, I have stocks that are focused on the US markets, but I also have some stocks that are diversified across Asia and also have exposure to some Chinese companies as well. So as you'll see, I've definitely felt the effect so far, but with this uncertainty, there always is opportunity. So we need to understand where we can find these pockets of opportunity and take advantage of them as they arise. Firstly, we cannot forget that the market is up over 35% since recording this video from the most recent April lows. And companies like Palantir, Microsoft, Nvidia have stayed very, very resilient during this period. Now, it's common knowledge that Trump has threatened China and other countries with insane tariffs before, and he has backtracked on those statements. So it's definitely not something new that we're experiencing in the market. But as you would have heard from my previous videos, you never know what Trump will do. He could turn a complete 360 and we could be going along all-time highs again, or he will keep these tariffs. We just don't know. Now, Trump's tariffs will be put in place as of the 1st of November, as of recording this video, which is insane because this will be an additional 100% tariff on any Chinese imports that come over to the US. And that's in addition to the tariffs that are currently in place at the moment, which is insane. Now, it doesn't stop there. The US has also proposed that expanding exports controls for critical US software will be restricted for those Chinese companies, which limits their ability to take advantage of advanced US software that is being built, patented, etc. overseas in the US. So this is obviously to do with the whole AI race that's currently going on at the moment. So Chinese companies are more favorable to be buying US led chips just due to their advancement, and this restriction will definitely hurt some companies domestically over in China. Now, like last time, it's unlikely China will just fold. They will probably implement a tariff structure similar to what the US has imposed on them, or they'll retaliate with something similar. But it's important that they do this so they can hold their ground. And yeah, as happened last time, the tariffs got dropped, so we could see this tit for tat happen again. Now, it's important to keep up with these trends because this is driving sentiment as we see in the stock markets, right? These companies are affected by huge political decisions made by Trump and other large countries like China. So this does have an effect on US companies and the stocks that me and you hold today. So it's important to understand what sentiment is going on, what's driving sentiment at the moment. And right now it's clearly the trade wars and the whole AI race which is controlling the sentiment. Now, given that Trump and the Chinese president Xi Jinping will be meeting, he is likely using these tariffs as a weapon for negotiation going into those meetings. And it's likely the Chinese president already knows this. That's why we'll probably see these drop and we'll see a mutual agreement in some sort of way that benefits both countries and both economies. And you know, if this happens again, it'll be positive for markets and overall sentiment. So firstly, looking at the portfolio, and we really want to understand the holdings that I have and the slight effects that these opposed tariffs may have, right? So we did see a lot of fear in the market as soon as that announcement got proposed, and we have slightly seen the effect. So we did have a slight pullback, but we're still sitting on over 37k, which is great. My largest holding is the S&P 500, simply because of the diversification aspect that this ETF brings. Looking at it a bit further, we can see the slight pullback that we have had, within the market, and this is when Trump's tariffs got proposed, and we did see some slight selling off into the market, which again I'm not fearful of. I don't even really see this as a crash. I know a lot of people say this could be seen as a crash, but for me it's a slight pullback, and you know, it'll be interesting to see mid-November if this carries on to the downside, or if we see a complete 360 similar to the one we saw in April. A lot of analysts, broadly speaking, well-known and successful ones like Tom Lee, are saying that we could see an S&P of over 7,000 this year, which is pretty insane when you think about it. So more on that, I guess, to come with, you know, in January, to see if that comes through to fruition. Alibaba, again, a great one for me so far. Had a really good entry point on this, and I'm still obviously holding the position. Right now, I think longer term we could see Alibaba at least come to back in their 2020 all-time highs. We did see a very nice rally up into, well, touching ever so slightly $200. Didn't quite get there, but was about $5 off that mark. And again, the Trump tariffs that got proposed has slightly hit the stock, but it's normal as well for a stock of this nature to at least have a pullback and some profit taken, so to speak. So I'm not adding to this position by any means, as I do have a great price that I got in at $92. So it's very much for me right now a hold. Nothing fundamental has changed with the company. They're still very much an e-commerce / cloud giant, and the only one comparative to that is Amazon. Again, Amazon is a Goliath in itself, and definitely one that I could see myself adding to longer term. It's just one of those companies that's got such a moat around it that there's nothing really comparable when you're looking at Western companies that come close to Amazon at the moment. Of course, you've got the likes of Google and Microsoft are still competing within the cloud space, but there is such a huge total addressable market that these companies can still thrive and grow year on year within the cloud space. Now, some of the other positions that we have are both the FTSE All World and the Vanguard Emerging Markets ETF. Again, one of them extremely diversified, so looking at different stocks within different regions. So we're covering predominantly the US, of course. We have stocks in Asia and obviously European companies in there as well. And we also have the emerging markets, which is again focused typically on companies based out in Asia as well. These two ETFs, again, I have recently added last month to my All World. However, I don't plan to keep adding to these ETFs at the moment, right? As I do see opportunities elsewhere. Again, if you know me personally, I'm looking at to diversify even into different assets like crypto, looking at Bitcoin, looking at Ethereum, but we can talk about those on a different video. But again, because these ETFs still have exposure in the US, and we've also seen this whole tariff propaganda, whatever you want to call it, right? We're obviously going to be hit on these ETFs as well. But again, not panic selling anything. If anything, I'm still continuously going to add to the S&P 500, as like I said, Trump can do a 360 and we will carry on seeing growth as we see these AI companies grow. Different companies like Microsoft and Amazon continuously see strong growth in earnings throughout the years. But overall, it will be interesting to see how these proposed tariffs, if they stay ahead and go through after the 1st of November, how this will affect the markets. And overall, my portfolio, as I said, guys, I'm very transparent with what I'm sharing with you. This is my actual portfolio that you see, so it'll be great to see how these tariffs do affect the portfolio, and of course my decisions may change with certain stocks and ETFs moving forward. But let me know what you think, guys, in the comments. Did you sell out during this? Did you find it as an opportunity to buy? Really curious to understand how you guys also navigating this, and let me know if you found this video helpful. See you in the next one.